We're following the breaking news out of Syria that the U.S. is considering closing the embassy. But first, a warning to our viewers that this next segment contains graphic images, a disturbing video surfacing today, video that allegedly shows an activist detained by governmental forces several weeks ago. This man appears to be badly beaten and dazed with a bruised and swollen face. It's estimated more than 5,000 people have been killed in the bloody government crackdown since March, and Syria could be edging closer to a civil war. CNN's Arwa Damon is on the streets of Damascus.
And here we have the weekly pro-government demonstration. People singing their support for the president. And in the conversations that we have been having here, there does seem to be a genuine level of passion when it comes to people expressing their love for the president, but also when it comes to expressing their fears for the future. And there are very grave fears that the country, amongst these people at least, could descend into some sort of sectarian warfare should the president be removed from power. And they do seem to firmly believe that they are the victims of some sort of conspiracy. But what we're hearing here when it comes to the government could not be more starkly different than what we continue to hear from the opposition, with the opposition firmly believing that the president is out to massacre all of them. We continue to hear these two diverging narratives in what seems to be becoming an increasingly polarized nation. But if there is one thing that both sides do agree on, and that is the Arab League. People here believe that it is also dead set against them, that it has no intention of uncovering the truth. The opposition feels that the Arab League quite simply bought the president and the government more time. There are growing fears amongst both sides about what the future is going to bring. And there is very little faith that the Arab League or the international community is going to be able to come up with a solution to save Syria. Arwa Damon, CNN, Damascus.
And Arwa is joining us on the phone right now from Damascus. Arwa, the breaking news we're following here in the Situation Room, two U.S. officials telling CNN the Obama administration may recall its ambassador from Damascus, Robert Ford, and actually shut down the U.S. embassy out of enormous security concerns. What's it like on the streets there? Because they're really worried about the safety of the limited number of U.S. diplomats who remain in Syria.
Well, Wolf, the situation is fairly tense, and I was last allowed into Syria around 6 months ago, and you can really feel as if this dark cloud has descended on the capital. Both sides are trying to grapple with various challenges that they're facing, and in that report you saw earlier, I was talking about how both sides are being polarized. They're not just being polarized against one another, they're also being polarized along a more global axis, with those people who are regime believing that the regime is a victim of this international conspiracy. Also includes the United States. When it comes to Ambassador Ford's role in Damascus, he himself has been viewed as being fairly controversial amongst those who support the government. And when it comes to the government itself, if you remember, he took that trip over the summer to Hama that caused the government to come out and directly accuse him of fueling what they were saying was terrorism at the time. The U.S. Embassy was attacked in October by government supporters. They managed to even breach the walls at one point, tear the flag down. No one was harmed in this incident, but then there was also the direct threat that caused the U.S. to pull Ambassador Ford in Damascus for his own safety. He then came back in December, but it would seem as if the situation here is slowly escalating towards being an increasingly more violent one, and so it's quite natural that the U.S. would be viewing this through the prism of a concern for security for its operatives on the ground, especially given how much the staff has dwindled down at this stage. This is literally a bare-bones operation right now, Wolf.
And priority number one is the safety of the U.S. diplomats, including the ambassador, of course. Arwa, we'll stay in close touch. In the meantime, be careful yourself in Damascus. We're glad you're on the scene reporting for